Hi everyone, welcome to the Dark Terrors channel. Today we will tell you about 3 horror stories that really happened in 1800 AD England. These stories are so scary that you might think they are just legends. But I assure you that they are true stories, which will give you goosebumps. So, if you're ready to hear these stories, fasten your seatbelts, for a journey into the world of horror begins. Story 1, The Possessed Doll. She was an antique china doll, with silky blonde hair and blue glass eyes that seemed to look straight into the soul. The doll had been given to little Sarah by her grandfather, a collector of antiques. Sarah adored the doll, which seemed almost alive when she looked at it. But soon things changed. One night, Sarah woke up in the dark. The doll was sitting on the bedside table next to her bed, her head tilted slightly as if she was watching her. Sarah got scared and covered herself with a blanket, but the feeling of being watched did not go away. The next morning, Sarah found the doll had been moved from its original location. From then on, things got worse. The doll seemed to move on its own, moving from room to room, leaving a trail of terror in its wake. Sarah could not sleep at night, frightened by the childish laughter coming from the shadows of the room. The doll seemed to have a malevolent presence, as if it wanted to harm Sarah. Sarah's mother tried to ignore her daughter's fears, thinking it was just her imagination. But one day, as he passed Sarah's room, he heard a strange, almost demonic laughter coming from the room. When she entered, she found the doll sitting in the chair with a sinister smile on her face. She was there, alone in the room. Sarah's mother decided to get rid of the doll, but no matter how many attempts they tried, the doll always came back. It was as if the doll had a supernatural force, a malevolent power that made her come home. The family was terrified of the doll, but they didn't know what to do. Then, one night, Sarah disappeared. The family searched everywhere, but could not find her. It wasn't until the next day that they found her in the doll's room. Sarah sat on the floor, hugging the porcelain doll. The doll's face looked more real than ever, as if it had been possessed by an evil spirit. The doll was eventually sealed in a box and taken away, but the harm it had caused was never forgotten. The legend of the possessed doll spread through the city, and people still talked about that terrible night when the doll seemed to have a life of its own. No one knew what really happened, but everyone knew that the doll was cursed, and could do more harm. Story 2, The Ghost of Borley Rectory. The story of the ghost of Borley Rectory is one of Britain's most famous ghost stories. Located in an isolated Suffolk village, the Borley Rectory house has been described as the most haunted house in Britain. This is the story of how the house became haunted and the ghost that lived in it. Borley Rectory had been built in 1863 as the parish house for the Church of St. John the Baptist. By 1929, however, the house has become old and dilapidated, and the church decided to demolish it to build a new parish house. The old house, however, had been bought by Harry Price, a well-known paranormal investigator, who intended to use it as a base for his ghost research. From the start the house turned out to be strange and mysterious. The Prices reported seeing strange objects flying, feeling watched, hearing eerie noises, and feeling like they were being touched by invisible hands. Paranormal phenomena became increasingly intense and frightening, so much so that the Price family decided to install cameras and microphones to record any presence. The recordings revealed a number of strange phenomena, such as ghostly voices and unexplained sounds. But the scariest moment of the story occurred when the ghost of a nun was recorded, appearing on a photographic negative. Harry Price, along with other detectives, tried to discover the identity of the nun's ghost, discovering that the house was built on a former convent, where a nun had been brought up alive. After Harry Price's death, the house passed through various owners and became a destination for curious and ghost enthusiasts. In 1937, the house was badly damaged by fire, which completely destroyed it, but the nun's ghost survived, and is said to continue to frighten anyone who approaches the site of the old Borley Rectory. In conclusion, the story of the Borley Rectory ghost remains one of Britain's most mysterious and disturbing cases of haunting. The story continues to attract the attention of skeptics and paranormal enthusiasts, and the place where the old house once stood has become a real point of reference for anyone interested in the supernatural world. Story 3, The Edinburgh Ghost. The city of Edinburgh, Scotland apparitions. One of the most famous stories concerns the ghost of a soldier who still seems to walk the streets of the city today. Legend has it that the soldier was part of the British Army during the Napoleonic Wars in the 18th century. It is said that during a cholera epidemic that struck the city, the soldier died and was buried in an unmarked grave. Since then, his ghost has been seen on the streets of Edinburgh, dressed in army uniform and with a sad expression on his face. Many citizens of Edinburgh have reported seeing the ghost of the soldier, walking the streets of the city at night. His presence appears to be particularly strong near Greyfriars Cemetery, where he is said to have been buried. One of the most famous testimonies concerns a woman who was walking her dog in the park near the cemetery. Suddenly, the dog began to cry and yell, and the woman turned to see what was happening. It was then that she noticed the soldier's ghost, walking slowly towards her. Frightened, the woman ran away, and her story became famous throughout the city. Today, the soldier's ghost has become a true icon of Edinburgh. The city organizes regular nighttime guided tours to try and spot it, and many people are convinced they have seen it with their own eyes. However, many skeptics argue that the story of the ghost is just a popular legend, with no real basis. In conclusion, the story of the ghost of Edinburgh represents one of Scotland's most fascinating and disturbing mysteries. Even though there is no concrete proof of the ghost's existence, the legend continues to fascinate and frighten anyone interested in the world of the supernatural. And so, these were the 3 true horror stories that happened in England in 1800 AD. I hope you enjoyed them and they gave you goosebumps. If you liked the video, put a like and subscribe to our Dark Terrors channel. Activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos on the world of horror.